We began with music by Leroy Anderson, sometimes known as America's Pops composer. He enjoyed a very long association with Arthur Fiedler in the Boston Pops, if that was part of your tradition years and years ago. I grew up with them, along with Lawrence Welk and Hee Haw and all those great shows. We're going to continue with some great Broadway music. And it's, as you can see in your program, it's The Sound of Music. You may not know this. It was written in 1959, originally as a stage production, and it wasn't until 1965 that it was made into the movie that we know with Julie Andrews and Christopher Plummer. Of course, you know it's a love story set in Austria, right on the eve of World War II. But the reason the movie has really endured for generation after generation is because it really depicts the elements of love, faith, family, hope, courage, perseverance. Just a beautiful story. I have a son, 13 years old, and it's something that we now watch because that's something that I want to pass on, in the family. Just make sure that this story keeps being told. It's so beautiful. It's a true story, by the way, based on the memoirs of Marie von Trapp. So to sing some selections of that musical, we're going to once again have our outstanding vocalist, senior Leah Richling. So if you would, please welcome her back to the stage with selections from The Sound of Music.
With the sound of music. Sound of Music is one of my favorite movies as well, mostly because it leaves us with this incredible sense of hope. But the reality is as World War II began, the entire world began to feel worn as they fought for the dreams of future generations and for their families, not knowing whether they would live or die. And most of us today don't know what life during that time was like, but we've been able to experience it through photos and videos and personal testimonies. And many directors have created movies and documentaries about World War II, including Ken Burns' documentary titled The War. Though the directors were using these images and these videos and personal testimonies, they found they couldn't quite describe what life during this time was like. But through music, they were able to describe what was otherwise indescribable. Most of the songs, for this time, for this documentary were used with music during this time. However, they kept coming back to one song that was titled American Anthem, and it was by an American songwriter, Gene Shear. It was recorded by Norah Jones, and it became the hauntingly hopeful theme song for the documentary. And Gene Shear said this of the song: "The song was meant to be a celebration of our past, but at its core, there is a yearning to be part of not just our own personal story, but of the American story." So tonight, we dedicate these next two pieces to those who say they have nothing to share, and to those who have experienced the amazing grace found in each generation. All we've been given by those who came before, the dreams of a nation where freedom would endure, the work and prayers of centuries have brought us to this day. What shall be our legacy? What will our children say? Let them say of me, like Amazing Grace that have the incredible power to make us feel things that nothing else can. And Lee Greenwood's hit song, God Bless the USA, is no exception to that. It reminds us that we live in a diverse and beautiful world, and it was written in the 1980s and gained prominence. Excuse me, my brain is not working tonight. But it gained prominence after the September 11th attacks and the 2003 war in Iraq as a way to boost morale. But now we recognize it as this song that brings all of us together as Americans. It reminds us that all of us can fight for those American values of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
One more time, that was Aaliyah Richling, senior in the league. Well, at this time there are a few special people in the audience we'd love to thank. First, if you look at your program, there were two pieces we played tonight. I believe it was The Sound of Music and Midway March that were arranged by a gentleman named Jeremy Pegg. And we just found out his mother's in the audience. Could she please stand up? Such an honor to get to play his music and actually have his mother here, so thank you so much. We'd also love to thank Senior Master Sergeant Bridget Van Leer, and she actually enlisted her family to help out. She got us in the door here, she took us to dinner, she took really good care of us all afternoon, and then her family helped pass out programs. So could we get a round of applause for her? We'd also like to thank the church here for allowing us to play here, and Mr. Bob Gale, the sound technician tonight. We also could not be here if you didn't know we were going to be here. So we would love to thank the newspaper, the Madison Daily Leader, and Marcia Scholbert, the editor, for getting the word out that we were coming to town. So could we get a round of applause for the newspaper? And last but not least, there's a very special group in the audience. It's the less than 1% of Americans who ever serve in the armed forces, and those are our veterans. In a few moments, we're going to play all of the service songs, and we're going to ask, this involves some audience participation. We're going to ask that if you have served, if you're currently serving, or if you're a family member of someone who served, that you stand, clap along when your service song is played. We'd love for you to sing along too, but if you don't remember the words, don't worry about it. We've got Senior Airman Richling here. She's got you covered. We're going to start with the Army, followed by the Marine Corps, the Navy, the Coast Guard, and last but not least, your United States Air Force. So ladies and gentlemen, it's been a true privilege to perform for you here this evening. We hope you will have us back. Please go to the newspaper and let them know you appreciated us coming. And if you want us to come back, shoot them a note, shoot them a letter, shake their hands, because we would love to come back here. But we're going to leave you now with your Armed Forces medley.
Thank you.